Erik with Full Mount MMA, joined today by UFC middleweight Rob Whittaker. Robert, how are you?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you back. I know you just got back from a holiday in London. Titus was telling me about it. How'd you enjoy it after getting the win?
Yeah, no, it was good to have a few days where I could just chill out and smell the roses, per se. It was great to see and experience London, and yeah, had a good time. Had a great time. Didn't stay too long because all the kids were back here, and I miss them terribly. But back home now with the family, and it's great to be back, mate.
That was your first time in Europe, correct? For UFC Paris?
It was my first time in Europe.
How was the whole experience? Did you just go to Paris and London, or were there any stops in between?
Yeah, Paris and London. Like I said, I didn't spend too much time there exploring because all the kids were back here, and I want to do that with them, to experience it all together. But from what I experienced in Paris and London, it was amazing. The culture, the history, it was an amazing time. It was an amazing experience.
So did you get back this weekend, back to Australia?
Yes, this weekend just passed.
So you were home during the craziness of UFC 279?
I was home for that. That was something, wasn't it? A bit of a circus.
How much were you keeping up with everything that went on? I mean, as someone in the media, that was like one of the craziest days media-wise that I've ever seen in the UFC. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit of a circus. I understand though that the sport we do, the industry we're in, there's a certain personality and character that goes with the sport. So yeah, I don't know. It's a circus, but it's not super unexpected.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it hasn't happened until now.
I was going to say we've been getting lucky with main events. There was a period there in like 2021 and 2020. It felt like every other week a main event was falling through. So I guess we were bound for some bad luck, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said before, I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner.
What'd you think of the main event?
Yeah, it was great. Are we talking about Nate?
Yeah, Nate and Tony.
Yeah, it was great to see Nate go out like that. To go up with a win and to see some vintage Nate shenanigans. I'm a big fan of Tony Ferguson though, and not happy he lost. But I don't know, with Nate leaving the sport now, him wrapping up his career like that on a W, you got to be happy for him.
He said he'll be back. Do you buy that?
No, I don't.
You think he's done? I mean, he's 37. It makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like, who knows though? He may come back. He's a bit loose like that. It's really hard to say with him. Although you can see though it's hard to come back. You see his brother Nick tried coming back, and it just wasn't the same unless you have that hunger and burning desire to do the work and the grind out like that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, I did ask you on actually to talk about you and not just Nate and Tony. So after, people are calling your performance over Marvin Vettori in UFC Paris last 2 weekends ago. They called it a masterclass. Is that something that you agree with?
I think I can do better. I like the fact that I made it look like it was an easy bit of work, but a lot of work went into preparing for that fight, and I do truly believe I can do better. So, if they think that's a masterclass, they're gonna have their minds blown next one.
I mean, especially in those second and third rounds, watching from home and just from what people have been saying online, I mean, you look like you were on a different level. I mean, your speed and timing. It looked like he was having a lot of trouble in there. Did you feel in those later rounds that you were like, oh, this guy's really not like I'm on another level in comparison to this guy?
Yeah, it's exactly that. I am on another level. I am. That's just, yeah, I'm the most dangerous. I'm the most dangerous middleweight in the world. The first round was a bit slow for me. I was feeling the distance, feeling the spacing, feeling the timing, but it was over 3 rounds. I think the amount of time I gave to that process was for a 5-round fight. I think it could have been done a little differently. I think I could have got to work later in the first opposed to the second, and then certainly the third. But once I had done the the spacing, and I found his range. I just, it's time to get work, and that's what I did.
Well, I don't think anyone can argue that you're on another level from these middleweight contenders that you've been fighting. I mean, we talked last time after your winning streak between Till, Gastelum, Cannonier. I mean, all of your fights are kind of looking like that. I mean, as you say, you make people hate fighting, and when you're in there with them, from the viewer's perspective, it looks like that. Like, what do you attribute to your dominance when you're fighting these middleweight contenders? Because it hasn't looked like you've been in danger for a while fighting these guys.
Yeah, it's for one, it's my team, my coaching staff. Mate, I put in so much work, and they put in so much work, and yeah, I attribute all my wins to that work rate, that mentality, that effort we all put in the gym. It's the fights aren't won there per se; they're won months and weeks and in the sweatshop. But and two, this is what I was born to do. This is who I am. You're going to get, whenever I step into the octagon, those doors shut, and it's you and me. Like, I'm willing to give everything to beat you, and unless you're willing to do the same and you've trained more than I have, then it's not happening.
Oh, it's funny because I see a lot of guys in your position, number one ranked, that are beating up all of these contenders below the championship, kind of squatting on their spot. You have certainly not done that. I mean, since you lost the belt, you racked up those 3 wins, went back in for another title attempt. And since then, you have another really tough fight in Marvin that you just showed, again, that you're on another level too. Like, what motivates you to keep going in and taking these fights? Like, is it hard to, as someone in your position, you know how much better you are than a lot of these people. Is it hard to stay motivated for anything not a title shot?
No, it's not. And I had to talk about this with one of my friends the other day. It's not hard for me to stay motivated. This is what I do. Okay, so this is how I earn bread for my family, because my family is my biggest drive in doing what I do. So, but secondly, it's got nothing to do with motivation. The motivation is what I need to get. It's not even motivation. I have discipline. I need that to get to training, to put in the work there, to sweat, to build the fitness, to build the strength, to build the skill sets that I need to do what I do. That's where the discipline comes in, and the motivation and everything. Once the octagon doors shut and there's just me and you, nothing matters. Nothing matters, because there's only one way I fight, and that's to the death, not expecting to leave. So if I put in the work and then you get me in the octagon, that's it. Mentality's on. You'll get everything to me. I don't need to be motivated. I don't need to be hungry. I don't need anything else, because I have a very fatal way of looking at what I do for a living, and that's one of the biggest things I have. And I know this, my mentality, my headspace going to these fights.
Have you spoken to Marvin all after the fight? I know he snubbed you at the weigh-in and you called it, disgusting. And but I didn't know, after sharing the cage, if there was any mutual respect there afterwards that you guys talked about.
I have respect for everyone that steps into the octagon, because there's a certain level of honor that goes with it, and a certain level of primal space that goes along with it. And I have to respect my opponent, otherwise I underestimate them. So I do have respect for what Marvin has done in his work. Not shaking my hand was grubby, but I'll say that. But still, I have respect for him standing in there and, even just taking the beating he did. Like, there's respect there. We're not buddies though. We're not going to go hang out. We said some nice things to each other, out of respect. But yeah, like that's where it is. We're 2 guys in the same division. I'm sure we'll cross paths again one day. Yeah.
Was that billed to you as a number one contenders fight? Because there's no one above you. I mean, who else can you fight at this point?
Yeah, well, it's always kind of been like that. I'm aiming for that either third shot against Adesanya, or depending on what happens with Pereira, the next title shot. That's what I want to do. I'm hungry for it, man. I'm a fiend for progression, and that's my progress. That's how I move up in the world, and that's what I want.
Do you think a certain outcome in that fight helps you, like one guy winning over the other?
I'd like to fight Pereira because it's someone different, and Adesanya for me is a bit of a tough matchup. I think I'm the best middleweight in the world. I just think I match up really poorly against him, and that's annoying as hell. But it is what it is. We'll wait and see. He's really good at what he does, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Well, to be fair, I did score the last fight for you. You also gave me an interview before that fight, and he did not. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but
Well, then we'll have to do another interview before the next fight then.
Oh, there we go.
It sounds like you're my lucky token. So
I don't know how much good that does you with me scoring it, but you did say in a recent interview that I think this was with Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour, that there's going to be a point where you don't want to skip dinner anymore and go up to 205. Is that more about the weight that you mentioned, or are there also matchups up there that excite you after you spent so much time at middleweight?
Yeah, no, not really the latter. It's just exactly what I said, mate. Like, there's going to be a point when I don't want to skip dinner anymore, and I can't be bothered cutting the weight. Still want to fight though. Still want to do what I do. I just don't want to have to diet the whole way through the fight, make the weight, the whole fight week cut, and everything like that. Yeah, there's just going to be a reach point, unless there's talks and I work out a contract or something like that where they want me to move up, and they make it exciting for me to move up. And I'm doing some really good work. I'm doing some really good work in the middleweight division. I think, I'm just lurking for that gold. I know I'll get another shot at that gold, and I want to do everything I can to try and take that gold back before I make a move up into a division.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was talking to Jan Blachowicz a couple of days ago, and he actually said he wants to cut to 185 and fight for a title there. So maybe he'll actually meet you at middleweight. You don't even have to go up to fight some of these guys. They want to come down and fight you. Do you think he can make that? There's no way he can make that, right?
No way. No way. I've met him personally. And I actually like Jan a lot. But Jan, there's no way you'll make it 185. He's huge. He's so thick. Like, yeah, no way. No way. He's kidding himself.
That's what I told him, but he's insistent that he's going to do it. So I don't know. But I got to ask you as well, after the weekend that we've had, Khamzat, it seems like he's going to be coming back to 185 after missing weight this weekend. He actually said he doesn't want to fight you because he thinks you're a nice guy. Did you see that?
Yeah. I did. And it sounds awesome. I am all for the budding relationship between me and him and just running amok through the 185 division. I think if me and him start training together, we are just going to be terrors to everybody in the division.
Well, he said he wants to train with you. Is that something that you would actually do?
Definitely. I would definitely. He's always welcome in my gym, so that we can work out, we can train together, and we can just, as he said, we can go hunt down the bad guys.
That's awesome. Well, that's one, I guess, buddy matchup that you're okay with at 185. I know you don't usually like making friends with guys in that division, right?
Yeah, well, exactly, because I may have to fight anyone. But he said he's cool with me, so I'm cool with him. Let's go.
What do you think of his fight against Kevin Holland this weekend?
It was wild. It was unreal. I think people don't realize how crazy it was, because he went in there with a single mindset saying, I'm going to get my hands on you and I'm going to ragdoll you, and you're not going to get up, and I'm not going to let go until you lose. And he did that. He invested his entire gas tank, his endurance into it, like knowing he was going to do what he wanted with him. And to have that amount of confidence against to do that, like, he knows Holland knows where it's at. He knows he's been held down before. He understands wrestlers, what they want to do. He's fought at high level, and for Khamzat to just get in there and do what he wants, like, unreal.
Yeah, no, he's a problem. I was wondering, since coming back to Australia, you were big on the pastry train when you were in London and in France. Have you continued that, or have you taken a break from the pastries since getting home?
Oh, the pastries in Paris were really top tier. I've got to say that the pastries there were phenomenal. And it's hard for me to find pastries as good. It is, haven't had as many pastries back home. I've had some donuts, which they're good. But yeah, it's hard to find. It's hard to find the level now.
Yeah, I understand. It's tough out there.
It is. It is. People say think outside the box, but the box is comfortable. Sometimes, sometimes you don't want to leave that box because once you leave the box, you can't go back in, brother.
Well, Rob, just to wrap things up here, I know you like to take the holidays off towards the end of the year. When do you expect to get back in and start looking for another fight? Are you going to wait to see how things shake out? Maybe you get a middleweight title fight sometime next year. You want to get something in a little bit earlier?
It's hard to say. I think February is a good date for me. It's if there's an Australian card coming next year, I'd like to at least put the work in to make an Australian card just because it's in my backyard. I will make the effort to fight here at home. But yeah, I think February is a good date. I'd have to train through Christmas, but I don't know. I've done it before. It's not too bad. It's wait and see.
Are there talks of an Australia card?
I've heard rumors of an Australian card coming early next year, February-ish. So, I think I'll keep that in mind whilst I'm prepping and training and see how it all plays out.
Awesome. Well, Rob, congratulations again on the win. Glad you're back safe and sound. Before I let you go, any shout outs, anything you wanted to promote, a final message to the people? I'll give you the floor.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you to all my fans and to all the fans of MMA and everyone that backed me and supports me, because it's because of you that I can do what I do. I hope you've enjoyed it, and there's a lot more to come. Trust me, the best is yet to come.
Awesome. Robert Whittaker. Robert, thanks again for joining.
Thank you for having me, mate. Take it easy.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. If you like our content, be sure to subscribe to Full Man MMA. And while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell icon as well so you never miss an update from us.